Close your eyes if you want to, or keep them open, it does not matter. You are here, you are resting, and that is enough. Tonight, we are going to talk about something that has puzzled human beings for thousands of years, something so familiar that you have never questioned it, something so close that you cannot see it. We are going to talk about time. Not the time on your clock, not the time on your phone, something deeper than that, something stranger. Because here is a secret that most people never learn. The time you think you know, the time that seems to flow from one moment to the next, carrying you from past to future, that time may not exist at all. Or at least, not in the way you think. I know that sounds impossible. I know that sounds like something a person would say to sound clever or mysterious. But this is not philosophy. This is not mysticism. This is what physics has been telling us for over 100 years. And the more we learn, the stranger it gets. So tonight, let me tell you a story about clocks that run at different speeds, about scientists who discovered that the past and the future might exist right now, at this very moment, about your own brain and how it builds the experience of time out of nothing but electricity and chemistry. You do not need to remember any of this. You do not need to understand it all. You can drift, you can float, you can let these words wash over you like water. And if you fall asleep before the end, that is fine. That is more than fine. That is exactly what this is for. So settle in, let your body get heavy, let your thoughts slow down. And let us begin. Think about what time feels like. You wake up in the morning, you go through your day, you eat meals and talk to people and do whatever it is you do. And then the day ends and you go to sleep, and in the morning it starts all over again. Time seems to move forward, always forward, never backward. You can remember yesterday, but you cannot remember tomorrow. You can change what happens next, but you cannot change what already happened. This feels so obvious, so natural, like the most basic fact about being alive. But what if it is not a fact at all? What if it is just a feeling? Think about it this way: you have never actually experienced the past. When you remember something that happened yesterday, you are remembering it now. The memory exists in your mind right now, in this moment. You cannot reach back and touch yesterday. You cannot visit it. All you have is a picture in your head, and that picture exists in the present. The same is true of the future. You cannot experience tomorrow until it becomes today. You can imagine what might happen, but that imagination happens now. Every plan you make, every worry you feel about what is coming, all of it happens in the present moment. So when you think about it carefully, the only thing you have ever experienced is now. This moment, and this one, and this one. An endless series of nows, each one replacing the last. But wait, if each moment replaces the last, then where does the last moment go? Does it disappear? Does it stop existing? And if the past stops existing when it becomes the past, then what exactly is the past? Is it anything at all? These questions might seem strange. They might seem like word games, but they have been asked by some of the smartest people who ever lived, and their answers have changed everything we thought we knew about the universe. Let me tell you about a man named Albert Einstein. You have heard of him. Everyone has heard of him. He is the scientist with the wild hair and the kind eyes, the one whose name has become a word for genius. But what Einstein actually discovered, what he actually figured out, alone in his head, while working as a clerk in a patent office in Switzerland, is stranger than most people realize. In 1905, Einstein was 26 years old. He was not famous. He was not even a professor. He was just a young man with a job reviewing other people's inventions, and he spent his free time thinking about physics. And that year, he published a paper that would change everything. The paper was about light, about how fast it travels, and about what happens when you try to chase it. Imagine you are on a train, moving very fast. Now imagine there is a beam of light shooting past the window. If you could somehow speed up the train until it was almost as fast as the light, what would happen? Would the light seem to slow down? the way a car seems to slow down when you catch up to it on the highway. Most people would say yes, that seems reasonable, that seems like how motion works. But Einstein realized something incredible. Light does not work that way. No matter how fast you go, light always moves at the same speed relative to you. You cannot catch up to it. You cannot even get close. This sounds impossible. It sounds like a mistake, but Einstein trusted the math, and the math was clear. Light always travels at the same speed. And if light always travels at the same speed, then something else has to give. Something has to change to make the math work out. That something is time. Einstein discovered that time is not the same for everyone. It is not a universal clock ticking away in the background of the universe. Instead, time is personal. Time is relative. Your time and my time are not the same. If you are moving very fast, close to the speed of light, then time passes more slowly for you than for someone standing still. Not because your clock is broken, not because something is wrong, but because that is how time actually works. This is not a guess. This is not a theory waiting to be proven. This has been measured again and again in experiments all over the world. Here is one of those experiments. In 1971, two scientists named Joseph Haefel and Richard Keating took 4 atomic clocks and put them on commercial airplanes. Atomic clocks are the most accurate timepieces ever built. They do not gain or lose a single second in millions of years. Haefel and Keating flew these clocks around the world. Some went east, some went west. And when the clocks came back, they compared them to identical clocks that had stayed on the ground. The clocks did not match. The ones that had flown around the world showed less time had passed, not much less, just a few billionths of a second. But the difference was exactly what Einstein's equations predicted. Time had passed more slowly for the moving clocks. This is not something you can feel in everyday life. The effect is tiny at normal speeds, but it is real, and at higher speeds, it becomes more dramatic. If you could somehow travel at 90% of the speed of light, time would pass about twice as slowly for you compared to someone on Earth. You could travel for what felt like a year, and when you came back, more than 2 years would have passed for everyone else. At 99% of the speed of light, the effect is even more extreme. A year of your time would be more than 7 years of Earth time. This is sometimes called the twin paradox. Imagine 2 identical twins. One stays on Earth. The other takes a long trip on a spaceship traveling close to the speed of light. When the traveling twin returns, they are younger than the twin who stayed home. Not just feeling younger, actually younger, fewer heartbeats, fewer breaths, less agging at the cellular level. Time itself passed more slowly for the moving twin. But speed is not the only thing that affects time. Gravity does too. This was Einstein's next discovery, published 10 years after the first one. He called it general relativity, and it is even stranger than special relativity. Einstein realized that gravity is not really a force at all. It is a bending of space and time. Massive objects, planets, stars, black holes, curve the fabric of the universe around them. And when space curves, time curves too. Near a massive object, time passes more slowly. The stronger the gravity, the slower time moves. This has also been measured. Clocks at sea level run slightly slower than clocks on mountaintops. The difference is tiny, about 90 billionths of a second per year for every 1,000 meters of altitude. But it is there. In 2022, scientists at a laboratory in Colorado measured time dilation between 2 clocks separated by just 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter, the thickness of a credit card, and they could detect the difference in how fast time was passing. This is not theory, this is measurement. This is what time actually does. Now you might be wondering why any of this matters in everyday life. And the answer is, it matters more than you think. Do you have a phone? Does it have GPS? Then you are using Einstein's relativity every single day. GPS, the system that tells your phone where you are, works by communicating with satellites orbiting high above the Earth. There are about 30 of these satellites circling the planet at an altitude of about 20,000 kilometers. Each satellite carries an atomic clock. Your phone receives signals from several satellites at once, and by comparing the timing of those signals, it can calculate your position to within a few meters. But here is the problem. The satellites are moving fast, about 14,000 kilometers per hour, and they are high above the Earth, where gravity is weaker. Both of these factors affect time. The speed makes the satellite clocks run slower by about 7 millionths of a second per day. The weaker gravity makes them run faster by about 45 millionths of a second per day. The net effect is that the satellite clocks gain about 38 millionths of a second per day compared to clocks on Earth. 38 millionths of a second sounds tiny, but for GPS, it is catastrophic. Light travels about 300 meters in a millionth of a second. If the clocks were off by 38 millionths of a second, your position would be wrong by more than 10 kilometers. So the engineers who built GPS had to account for Einstein's relativity. They had to program the satellites to adjust for time dilation. Every single day, the clocks correct themselves based on equations that Einstein worked out more than a century ago. Without relativity, GPS would not work. The blue dot on your phone would drift across the map, getting more and more wrong with every passing minute. You are using physics that proves time is not what you think it is, every time you ask your phone for directions. Let your body relax now, let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench. You have been listening for a little while, and that is good, but you do not need to concentrate. You do not need to hold any of this in your mind. Just rest. Breathe slowly if you like, or do not think about your breathing at all. Let it happen on its own, the way it always does. Time is strange. Time is not what it seems. But right now, in this moment, you do not need to understand anything. You can just be here, listening, or not listening, floating in the darkness. There is something else Einstein discovered, something even stranger than time dilation, something that suggests time might not flow at all. Remember how we said that time passes differently depending on how fast you are moving? Well, there is a consequence of this that most people do not think about. If time is different for different observers, then there is no universal now. Think about it. Imagine two people far apart, one on Earth, one on a distant planet. What is happening right now on that distant planet? The answer is, it depends on who you ask. If one observer is standing still and another is moving, they will disagree about which events are simultaneous. What one person calls now on the distant planet, another person will call the past or the future. This is not a trick. This is not an illusion. This is how space-time actually works. And this leads to something called the block universe. The block universe is a way of thinking about reality that comes directly from Einstein's physics. It is not proven beyond doubt. There are scientists who debate it, but it is one of the most influential ideas in modern physics, and it has profound implications for what we think time is. Here is the basic idea. Imagine the universe as a four-dimensional block, 3 dimensions of space, up and down, left and right, forward and back, plus 1 dimension of time. In this block, every event that has ever happened and every event that will ever happen all exist. The Big Bang is in there. The moment of your birth is in there. This very moment is in there. And so is the moment of your death and the end of the Earth and the heat death of the universe billions of years from now. Nothing is missing, nothing has disappeared, nothing is yet to arrive. The past does not vanish when it becomes the past. It is still there at its place in the block. The future is not waiting somewhere to happen. It is already there at its place in the block. A mathematician named Hermann Weyl put it this way: the objective world simply is. It does not happen. Read that again, let it settle. The world is, it does not happen. In the block universe, there is no flow. There is no movement from past to future. There is just the block, eternal, unchanging, complete. So what is time then? What is this experience we have of moving from one moment to the next? In the block universe view, it is a kind of perspective. Your consciousness exists at a particular point in the block. You experience that point as now. But from outside the block, if such a thing were possible, there would be no special moment. All moments would be equally real. All moments would just be there. A physicist named Max Tegmark describes it like this. Imagine your life as a movie recorded on a DVD. The movie has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There are scenes where you are a child, scenes where you are older, scenes that have not happened yet from your current perspective. But the DVD itself does not change. All the frames are already there, encoded on the disc. When you play the movie, you experience the frames one at a time. You feel like time is passing, but the disc is just sitting there, containing all the frames at once. Life is like a movie, Tegmark says, and spacetime is like the DVD. There is nothing about the DVD itself that is changing, even though there is all this drama unfolding in the movie. Now I want to be careful here. This is a model. This is one way of interpreting what Einstein's physics tells us. Not everyone agrees with it. Some physicists argue that time is real, that change is real, that the flow of time is not just an illusion. But the block universe is consistent with the math, and the math has been tested more thoroughly than almost anything else in science. So at the very least, it is possible that your feeling of time flowing is not telling you something true about the universe. It may be telling you something about how your mind works. Let that thought rest for a moment. You do not need to decide whether the block universe is true. You do not need to believe anything or reject anything. This is just a perspective, a way of seeing. And sometimes, a new way of seeing can be a kind of rest. If the past has not vanished, then nothing is truly lost. Every moment you have ever loved is still there, at its place in the block. Every person who has touched your life still exists in their moment. If the future is already there, then there is nothing to fear. Whatever is coming has always been coming. You have always been going to meet it, and you will meet it the way you always do, one breath at a time. This is not meant to be unsettling. For some people, it is the opposite. It is peaceful. The universe simply is, and you are part of it. You have always been part of it. You will always be part of it. Not moving through time, just being. Here, now, always. Let your eyes rest if they are not already closed. Feel the weight of your body against whatever is holding you, the bed, the pillow, the chair. You are safe here. Nothing is required of you, nothing at all. Just listen if you want, or let the words become background noise. Let them mix with the darkness and the quiet and the stillness of the night. We have more to explore, but there is no rush. Time is strange, remember, and right now you have all the time you need. So far, we have talked about physics, about Einstein and relativity and the block universe, but there is another way to ask whether time is an illusion. We can ask, what does the brain actually do when it experiences time? Because here is something remarkable. You do not have a sense organ for time. You have eyes for seeing, ears for hearing, skin for touching, a nose for smelling, a tongue for tasting. Each of these senses has a dedicated organ, a specific part of your body designed to detect that particular kind of information. But time, there is no time organ. There is no part of your body that senses time the way your eyes sense light. So how do you experience time at all? The answer is, your brain builds it. Your brain takes information from your senses, from your memory, from your expectations, and it constructs an experience of time. Like a builder constructing a house, except the house exists only in your mind. And like any construction, it can be flawed, it can be influenced, it can be fooled. Think about how time feels in different situations. When you are bored, time seems to drag. The minutes stretch out like hours. You keep checking the clock. And somehow, only 5 minutes have passed since the last time you looked. When you are having fun, time seems to fly. Hours feel like minutes. You look up and suddenly the whole day is gone. When you are afraid, truly afraid, time can seem to slow down completely. People who have been in car accidents often report that the crash seemed to happen in slow motion. Every detail was vivid and clear, every second stretched out. These experiences are not just figures of speech. They are real changes in how your brain processes time. In laboratory studies, researchers have found that strong emotions genuinely alter time perception. People shown frightening images consistently overestimate how long they were shown. People in pleasant situations consistently underestimate. The effect is measurable, it is consistent, and it tells us something important. Time is not just something that happens to you. Time is something your brain creates. Here is another way to think about it. What you call the present moment, the now, is not actually the moment when things happen. It is the moment when your brain finishes processing what happened. Your eyes detect light. That information travels to your brain. Your brain processes it, makes sense of it, integrates it with other information. And only then do you become conscious of what you saw. This takes time. Depending on what is being processed, it can take anywhere from a few hundredths of a second to half a second. So the now you experience is actually a little bit in the past. By the time you are aware of something, it has already happened. But that is not all. Different senses take different amounts of time to process. Vision is processed differently than sound, which is processed differently than touch. Yet somehow, your brain presents you with a unified experience where everything seems to happen at the same time. How does it do this? Your brain adjusts, it synchronizes, it takes inputs that arrive at different times and stitches them together into a seamless whole. The present moment is not a window onto reality, it is an edited summary, a reconstruction, a story your brain tells you about what just happened. Researchers have found specific parts of the brain involved in time perception. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain behind your forehead, seems to be important for longer time intervals. People with damage to this area have trouble judging how much time has passed over minutes or hours. The cerebellum, the structure at the back of your brain, seems to be important for shorter intervals, the milliseconds and seconds that are involved in coordinated movement. The basal ganglia, structures deep in the brain, also play a role. These areas are affected in Parkinson's disease, and people with Parkinson's often have difficulty with time perception. But there is no single time center. There is no clock ticking away inside your skull. Instead, time perception emerges from the interaction of many different brain systems, all working together to construct an experience that feels unified and real. In 2018, researchers at the Kavli Institute in Norway discovered what they called a time-coding network in a part of the brain called the lateral entorhinal cortex. This area, they found, keeps track of the sequence of events in an experience. It provides timestamps for what happens to you. Interestingly, this area is right next to the part of the brain that handles spatial navigation, the mental map of where you are. Time and space, it turns out, are processed by neighboring systems in the brain. Just as Einstein showed that time and space are woven together in the fabric of the universe, it seems they are also woven together in the fabric of your mind. Let this settle. Your experience of time is not a passive reception of some external reality. Your experience of time is actively created, moment by moment, by your brain. The flow you feel, the sense that time is passing, is something your mind generates. Like the picture on a screen, it seems vivid and real, but it is a construction, an interpretation, a useful model that helps you navigate the world. This does not mean time is not real in any sense. Clearly, things change. Clearly, events happen in a certain order. Clearly, you were younger before and will be older later. But the specific experience you have, the feeling of now, the sense of flowing from past to future, that is something your brain adds. The universe does not require it. The physics does not demand it. It is your mind's way of making sense of things. And minds, as we know, can be mistaken. Let your breathing slow. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the air moving in and out. You do not need to control it. It happens on its own, like your heartbeat, like the thoughts drifting through your mind. Time is doing the same thing right now, flowing through you or seeming to without any effort on your part. You do not have to make time pass, it just does or seems to. For now, just rest in that flow. Let it carry you like a river carries a leaf, effortless, gentle. There is more to say, but the words will wait. They are not going anywhere. Nothing is going anywhere. Not really. We have talked about physics, we have talked about neuroscience, but there is another thread we should follow. Long before Einstein was born, long before anyone built an atomic clock or mapped the neural pathways of time perception, people were thinking about these questions. And some of them reached conclusions that sound remarkably modern. 2,500 years ago, in ancient Greece, a philosopher named Parmenides made a strange claim. He said that change is an illusion, that motion is impossible, that the only thing that truly exists is the present moment, unchanging and eternal. This sounds crazy. Of course things change. Of course motion is real. You can see things move with your own eyes. But Parmenides was not stupid. He was one of the most rigorous thinkers of his time, and he believed that reason should be trusted more than the senses. His student Zeno devised a series of paradoxes to support this view. The most famous is about Achilles and a tortoise. Imagine Achilles, the fastest runner in Greek mythology, racing against a tortoise. The tortoise gets a head start. Now Achilles is much faster, so he should catch up easily, but consider this. By the time Achilles reaches the spot where the tortoise started, the tortoise has moved forward a little. By the time Achilles reaches that new spot, the tortoise has moved forward again. And so on, forever. There is always a tiny gap that Achilles has to close. How can he ever catch up? We know he can catch up. We know the paradox has a solution involving infinite series and limits. But Zeno's point was not really about racing. His point was that motion, when you think about it carefully, does not make logical sense. Reality must be simpler. Reality must be static. Parmenides and Zeno were wrong about some things, but their basic insight, that time and change might be less real than they appear, has echoed through thousands of years of philosophy. At around the same time, halfway around the world, similar ideas were developing in India. The ancient Hindu concept of Maya refers to the illusion of the physical world. Time, change, the apparent flow of events, all of this is Maya. It is not the ultimate reality. Underneath Maya, the Hindu sages taught, is something called Brahman. Brahman is eternal. Brahman is unchanging. Brahman is beyond time. Your true self, according to this view, is not your body or your mind. Your true self is Atman, the soul, which is one with Brahman, and Atman does not age. Atman does not change. Atman exists outside the wheel of time. This might sound like religious belief, disconnected from science, and it is true that there is no experiment that can prove or disprove Brahman. But the structure of the idea is interesting. The ancient Hindus recognized that time seems real when you are caught up in everyday experience, but when you step back, when you meditate, when you go deep into your own awareness, time can seem to fade. The present moment, experienced fully, can feel eternal, not lasting forever, but outside of time altogether. Buddhism, which emerged from Hinduism about 500 years before Christ, has its own perspective on time. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, nothing lasts, your body will decay, your thoughts will change, even the mountains will eventually erode away. This impermanence is one of the main causes of suffering. We cling to things that cannot last, we resist changes that are inevitable, and this resistance creates pain. The solution, according to Buddhism, is to recognize the true nature of reality. To see that the self you think you are, the continuous person who exists through time, is also an illusion. There is no fixed self moving through time. There are only moments of experience arising and passing away. When you fully understand this, the Buddha said, you can achieve liberation. You can step outside the cycle of time and change. You can find peace. Buddhist meditation often focuses on the present moment, on being fully here, fully now, and practitioners report that in deep meditation, the sense of time passing can dissolve. There is just awareness, just being, no past, no future, just this. The Stoic philosophers of ancient Rome had a similar emphasis on the present. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote in his private journal about the importance of focusing on the now. The past is gone and cannot be changed. The future is uncertain and cannot be controlled. Only the present moment is real, and only the present moment is within your power. Confine yourself to the present, he wrote. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. This is practical advice for living, but it also reflects a deep insight about time. The past and future exist only as thoughts in the present moment, memories and expectations, mental constructs. The only time you can ever actually experience is now. What is striking is how many different traditions, in different places and times, reached similar conclusions. The Greek philosophers, using pure logic, decided that change might be illusory. The Hindu sages, through meditation and contemplation, concluded that time is Maya. The Buddhists, analyzing the nature of experience, taught that impermanence reveals the emptiness of the self. The Stoics, seeking practical wisdom, emphasized the eternal present. And now, in the 21st century, physics suggests that time might not flow, that past and future might both exist, that the block universe might be static and eternal. This does not prove anything. Convergence of ideas is not the same as proof. Different people can reach the same conclusion for different reasons and still be wrong. But it is worth noticing. The question, is time real, is not new, it is ancient. And many of the smartest, most thoughtful people who have ever lived have answered, maybe not. Let that thought rest. You are lying in the dark or sitting in the quiet, listening to these words. Time seems to be passing. This moment is giving way to the next moment, and that one to the next. But is it? Or are you simply here, in the only moment there ever is, experiencing what you call now? There is no test you can perform to answer this. There is no experiment that will tell you whether time is flowing or standing still. The question is beyond the reach of measurement. But you can notice, you can pay attention, you can feel what it is like to be you right now in this instant. And maybe that is enough. We should talk about something called the arrow of time. Because even if time does not flow the way we think it does, there is still a mystery. There is still something that needs explaining. The laws of physics are reversible. This sounds technical, but it is important. It means that if you could take a movie of any physical process, atoms bouncing around, planets orbiting, anything at all, and play the movie backward, the physics would still work. The backward version would be just as valid as the forward version. Newton's laws work forward and backward. Einstein's equations work forward and backward. Even quantum mechanics, for the most part, works forward and backward. There is nothing in the fundamental laws that says time has to go in a particular direction. And yet we always experience time going in the same direction. We remember the past. We do not remember the future. Eggs break but do not unbreak. Ice melts, but water does not freeze spontaneously into ice cubes. Why? The answer, most physicists believe, has to do with something called entropy. Entropy is a measure of disorder, of randomness, of how many different ways the tiny parts of a system could be arranged while still looking the same from the outside. A neat stack of papers has low entropy. There is basically only one way to have the papers neatly stacked. A messy pile of papers has high entropy. There are millions of ways the papers could be jumbled that would all look like a mess. A melted ice cube has more entropy than a frozen one. A broken egg has more entropy than a whole one. A gas spread evenly through a room has more entropy than the same gas compressed into one corner. And here is the key insight. There are vastly more ways for things to be disordered than ordered. So if you start with something ordered and let random chance take over, it will almost certainly become more disordered. This is the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy tends to increase, disorder tends to grow. And this gives time its direction. Imagine you are watching a movie of an egg falling off a table and splattering on the floor. You know immediately which direction is forward. The egg starts whole, falls, and breaks. Entropy increases. Now imagine watching the same movie backward. Shattered egg pieces leap up from the floor, reassemble into a perfect egg, and land gently on the table. This looks absurd. This looks impossible. Not because physics forbids it, but because it would require entropy to decrease. And entropy almost never decreases in a closed system. The arrow of time, the reason we experience time going one way and not the other, is probably not built into the laws of physics. It is probably built into the initial conditions of the universe. At the Big Bang, about 14 billion years ago, the universe was in a state of extremely low entropy. It was hot and dense and smooth. Since then, entropy has been increasing. Galaxies have formed, stars have burned, planets have evolved, life has appeared. All of this represents entropy increasing. We experience time flowing toward higher entropy because that is the direction of increasing disorder. We remember the past because the past had lower entropy, and our memories are records of that low entropy state. We cannot remember the future because the future has higher entropy, and there is nothing to record yet. Sean Carroll, a physicist who has written extensively about this, summarizes it this way: every difference between the past and the future could ultimately be traced to the fact that entropy was lower in the past and is growing. This is a subtle point, but it is worth dwelling on. The reason you feel time flowing is not because time itself has some intrinsic direction. It is because you are made of matter, and matter tends toward higher entropy, and higher entropy lies in what we call the future. You are a brief eddy in the river of entropy, a temporary pattern that will eventually dissolve. And as you exist, entropy increases around you, and you experience this as the passage of time. If somehow the universe had started in a high entropy state, total chaos, total disorder, there would be no arrow of time. Everything would be equally disordered in all directions. There would be no difference between past and future. We experience time the way we do because of an accident of cosmology, because the universe started in a special, low-entropy state. No one knows why it started that way. That is still a mystery. But given that it did, everything else follows, including your experience of sitting here, listening to these words, feeling time pass. Let your mind quiet now. You have been thinking about complex things, about physics and philosophy and the deep structure of the universe. That is good, that is interesting, but you do not need to hold on to any of it. Let the thoughts settle like sediment in a glass of water. Let them drift down and become still. Your breathing is steady, your body is relaxed. Time is passing, or seems to be, and you are here in the middle of it all, just being. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to understand, nothing you need to figure out. Just rest. There is one more thread from physics that we should follow. It is perhaps the strangest of all. It has to do with quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is the physics of very small things: atoms, electrons, photons, the building blocks of matter and energy. At this scale, the universe behaves in ways that seem impossible. Particles can be in two places at once. They can affect each other instantly across vast distances. They do not have definite properties until they are measured. Quantum mechanics is strange, but it is also the most precisely tested theory in all of science. Its predictions have been confirmed to more decimal places than any other theory in history. And quantum mechanics has something interesting to say about time. In 1967, two physicists named John Wheeler and Bryce DeWitt tried to combine quantum mechanics with Einstein's theory of gravity. This is a notoriously difficult problem. No one has fully solved it yet. But Wheeler and DeWitt came up with an equation that describes the quantum state of the entire universe. They called it the Wheeler-DeWitt equation, and it has a remarkable property. There is no time in it. The symbol that usually represents time in physics equations, the letter T, simply does not appear. The equation describes the universe as a whole, but it describes it as static, unchanging, timeless. This does not mean the Wheeler-DeWitt equation is definitely correct. It is a theoretical equation, and the full theory of quantum gravity is still unknown. But the absence of time in this equation is suggestive. It suggests that time, at the deepest level, might not be fundamental. Time might be something that emerges from more basic, timeless ingredients, like how the temperature of a gas emerges from the motion of its molecules, even though individual molecules do not have temperature. Time might be emergent, time might be approximate, time might be a useful description that breaks down when you look closely enough. Some physicists have proposed that time emerges from quantum entanglement. Entanglement is one of the strangest features of quantum mechanics. When two particles are entangled, they become correlated in a way that cannot be explained by classical physics. Measuring one particle instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. In 1983, two physicists named Don Page and William Wouters suggested that time might arise from entanglement between different parts of the universe. Imagine the entire universe as a quantum system, now divided into two parts, a clock and everything else. If the clock is entangled with the rest of the universe, then from inside the universe, it would look like the clock is ticking and time is passing. But from outside, if such a perspective were possible, the whole system would be static, timeless. This is speculative. This is not established science, but it is another hint that time might not be as fundamental as it seems. At the deepest level, the universe might simply exist, complete, eternal, unchanging. And time might be an appearance that arises when parts of the universe relate to each other. Let these ideas fade. They are interesting, they are thought-provoking, but they are not essential. You do not need to understand quantum gravity to experience the present moment. You do not need to solve the Wheeler-DeWitt equation to feel at peace. Right now, wherever you are, whatever time it seems to be, you are here. That is the only fact that matters. That is the only thing you can be certain of. Let the thoughts drift away. Let the questions dissolve. Let the silence fill you. Time may be an illusion, but this moment is real enough. This breath, this heartbeat, this awareness. That is all you need. We have covered a lot of ground. We have talked about Einstein and relativity, about how time passes differently depending on speed and gravity, about GPS satellites correcting for relativistic effects every single day. We have talked about the block universe, about how all of time, past, present, and future might exist at once, about how the flow we experience might be a kind of perspective, not an objective feature of reality. We have talked about the brain, about how there is no sense organ for time, about how the present moment is a construction built from processed signals and edited together into a seamless illusion. We have talked about ancient wisdom, about how philosophers and sages, thousands of years ago, concluded that time is Maya, that the present is eternal, that change is illusion. We have talked about entropy and the arrow of time, about how the direction of time comes from the increase of disorder, not from the laws of physics themselves. We have talked about quantum mechanics, about equations where time does not appear, about the possibility that time emerges from something deeper. All of this points in the same direction. Time is not what it seems. Time is stranger than you thought, and the experience you have of time, that steady flow from past to future, may not be telling you the truth about the universe. But what does this mean for you? It does not mean you should stop caring about time. You still have appointments to keep, deadlines to meet, people to see. Clock time is useful, even if it is not ultimately real. It does not mean you should become anxious or confused. These ideas are strange, but they are not threatening. They are invitations to wonder, not reasons for fear. What it might mean is this. If time is an illusion, then the present moment is more important than you thought. Not because the past and future are unreal, but because the present is where you always are. It is where you always have been. It is where you always will be. If time is an illusion, then nothing is truly lost. The moments you have loved are still there, at their places in the block. The people you have known still exist in their times. Nothing vanishes. Everything simply is. If time is an illusion, then there is nothing to rush toward and nothing to run from. The future is already here, waiting for you to reach its coordinates. You will get there at exactly the moment you were always going to get there. There is no way to be late. This is not fatalism. You still make choices, you still act. It is just that the whole story, choices and actions and consequences, is already written. Or rather, it is not written, because writing implies a process in time. The whole story simply exists. You are part of it, you have always been part of it, you will always be part of it. And so, as you lie here in the darkness, you can let go. Let go of the past. It has not vanished. It is still there, and you can visit it in memory whenever you like, but you do not need to hold on to it. It is not going anywhere. Let go of the future. It is not something you have to chase. It is already where it is, and you will meet it when your coordinates in spacetime reach that location. There is no rush. Let go of even this moment. It is not fleeting. It is not slipping away. It is exactly where it is, exactly what it is. You are here. You have always been here. You will always be here. Time is an illusion, but you are real. Your awareness is real. This experience right now is real. And that is enough. More than enough. It is everything. Let your eyes stay closed. Let your body be heavy. Let your mind be soft. The night surrounds you, quiet and patient. The universe holds you, vast and eternal. Time flows around you like a river, or seems to, and you are floating in it, or through it, or beyond it. You do not need to understand. You do not need to remember. You do not need to do anything at all. Just rest. Just breathe. Just be. Continued in Part 2. Why Time is an Illusion, Deep Sleep documentary. Part 2. You are still here. Still resting, still floating in the quiet. The night continues, the darkness continues, and these words continue, soft and unhurried, like ripples spreading across still water. You have been thinking about time, about how strange it is, about how different it might be from what you always assumed. But now, in this second part of our journey, we can slow down even more. We can let the ideas become gentler. We can let the space between thoughts grow wider. There is no hurry, there never was. Time is an illusion, remember, and right now, in this moment, you have all the time that exists. Let us return to something simple. Your breath. Notice it if you like, or do not notice it. It will happen either way. The air comes in, the air goes out. This has been happening since you were born. It will continue until you die. And in the Hindu view, the breath that animates you is part of a cosmic breath that animates everything. Breathing in, breathing out, the universe breathing through you. In yoga, they call this prana, the life force, the energy that moves through all living things. When you focus on your breath, something interesting happens to time. It seems to slow down. The gap between inhale and exhale widens. The present moment becomes more spacious. This is not an accident. This is what meditation teachers have known for thousands of years. Attention changes the experience of time. When you are fully present, time seems to expand. There is a scientific reason for this. Remember how we said that time perception is related to the number of experiences you have. When you are bored and not paying attention, your brain processes fewer distinct experiences. Time seems to drag because there is little content to fill it. When you are having fun and engaged, your brain processes more experiences. Time seems to fly because there is so much happening. But when you are meditating, when you are focused on a single thing, like your breath, something different happens. You are paying very close attention, so each moment feels full. But you are also calm, so the moments do not race past you. The result is that time seems to stretch, to open up, to become something you can rest in rather than something that pushes you along. Experienced meditators report that after years of practice, their relationship with time changes fundamentally. The rush and pressure of time fade. The endless to-do list loses its urgency. There is just this breath, and this one, and this one. The eternal present becomes not a philosophical idea, but a lived experience. You do not need to be an experienced meditator to taste this. Right now, as you lie here, you can notice your breath. Just notice it. Do not try to change it. Do not try to make it deeper or slower. Just feel it. Feel the air entering your nose or mouth. Feel it filling your lungs. Feel the slight pause at the top of the breath. Feel the air leaving. Feel the slight pause at the bottom. That is all, just that simple noticing. And as you do this, notice what happens to time. Does it speed up? Does it slow down? Does it become less important? There is no right answer. There is no goal. There is just this experiment, this moment, this breath. In the Buddhist tradition, they have a practice called anapanasati. It means mindfulness of breathing. The Buddha himself taught this practice. He said that if you develop mindfulness of breathing, if you cultivate it and make much of it, it can lead to great peace and great understanding. The practice is simple. You sit comfortably, you close your eyes, and you pay attention to your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will wander, you gently bring it back. No frustration, no judgment, just a gentle return to the breath. Over time, something shifts. The constant chatter of the mind grows quieter. The sense of being a separate self, trapped in the flow of time, begins to soften. What remains is awareness, pure awareness, aware of breath, aware of body, aware of itself. In this state, practitioners report, time loses its grip. There is no past to regret, no future to fear. There is just this, just now, just awareness resting in itself. You do not need to achieve this state tonight. You do not need to achieve anything. But you can rest in the direction of it. You can let your awareness settle on your breath, lightly, easily, without effort. You can let the thinking mind grow quieter if it wants to. You can let time do what it does without grasping or resisting. The universe is holding you. It has always been holding you. It will always be holding you. You are part of the block, part of the eternal pattern, part of the stillness that underlies all motion. Rest in that. Let us talk about sleep. Sleep is a strange thing when you think about it. Every night you lose consciousness, your sense of self disappears, hours pass without your awareness, and then, somehow, you wake up and continue where you left off. What happens to time when you sleep? In dreamless sleep, there is no experience of time at all. The hours vanish. You close your eyes, and when you open them, it is morning. From your perspective, no time has passed. The interval was simply not experienced. This is interesting. If time requires experience, if time is something that consciousness produces, then during dreamless sleep, time stops. Not objectively, maybe. The clocks on the wall keep ticking, the earth keeps turning, but for you, time is simply not there. You have experienced timelessness every night for your entire life. Dreams are different. In dreams, time exists, but it is strange. Dream time is elastic. A dream that seems to last hours might occur in a few minutes of sleep. A dream that seems like a brief flash might correspond to a longer period. The brain, in dreams, is constructing time without the constraints of external reality. There is no clock to check. There are no social cues. There is just the dream narrative, unfolding at whatever pace the dreaming mind chooses. This reinforces something we discussed earlier. Time is a construction. Awake, the brain builds time from sensory input and memory. Asleep, The brain builds time from internal signals alone. The machinery is the same, the raw materials are different. And in dreamless sleep, the machinery is quiet, time is not built at all. The Mandakya Upanishad, an ancient Hindu text, describes 4 states of consciousness. The first is waking. This is the state you are probably in now or drifting away from. In waking, you experience the external world. You have a sense of self. You are aware of time passing. The second is dreaming. In this state, you experience an internal world. The sense of self continues, but it is the self of the dream, not necessarily the self you know when awake. Time exists, but it is fluid and strange. The third is dreamless sleep. In this state, there is no experience at all. No external world, no internal world, no self, no time, just deep, unconscious rest. The fourth state is called turiya. This is not really a state at all. It is the awareness that underlies all the other states. It is pure consciousness, without content, without subject or object, without time. The Upanishad says that turiya is your true nature. The waking self, the dreaming self, the sleeping self, these are appearances. The awareness that witnesses them all is who you really are, and that awareness is timeless. This is philosophy, not science. There is no experiment that can confirm or deny turiya. But the idea is worth holding lightly. The idea that beneath all your experiences, waking, dreaming, sleeping, there is an awareness that does not change, that does not age, that does not exist in time. Perhaps when you fall asleep tonight, you will not simply disappear for a few hours. Perhaps you will return to that deeper awareness. Perhaps you will rest in timelessness, in the background of being, in the stillness that never moves. And when you wake up tomorrow, you will return to time. You will put on your identity again, like putting on clothes. You will step back into the story of you moving through your day, making choices, experiencing time. But the timeless will still be there, underneath, behind, within. It is always there. It is what you are. Let your body relax even more deeply now. Let your muscles soften. Let your limbs grow heavy. Let the tension drain away into the bed, into the floor, into the earth. You are safe. You are held. There is nothing to worry about and nothing to do. The night is quiet. The world is distant. And you are here in the stillness resting. Time is an illusion, but rest is real. Sleep is real. This peace you are beginning to feel is real. Let it come, let it fill you. Let it carry you down into the depths where there is no time at all. There is a concept in physics called the eternal now. This is not an official term. You will not find it in textbooks, but it captures something important about what modern physics suggests. If the block universe is real, if past, present, and future all exist together, then there is no fundamental now. The moment you call now is just one slice of the block, one location in the four-dimensional structure of space-time. But here is the thing, every moment is someone's now. Every moment in the entire history of the universe is the present moment for someone located at that point in space-time. From this perspective, every moment is eternal, not because it lasts forever in the sense of duration, but because it simply exists. It does not come into being and pass away. It is there, in its place, always. Your birth is an eternal now for the baby you were. Your happiest memory is an eternal now for the person you were when it happened. This very moment, reading these words or hearing these sounds, is an eternal now for the you that exists at this point in space-time. None of these moments are less real than any other. None of them have vanished. None of them are yet to arrive. They all simply are. The eternal now. There is a comfort in this idea if you let it in. Nothing is lost, not really. The people you have loved who are no longer in your life, they still exist at their points in the block. The version of them that laughed with you, talked with you, held you, that version is still there. It is as real as it ever was. The experiences you treasure, they have not faded. They are not diminished by time. They are frozen in place, eternal, preserved in the structure of space-time. And the experiences you fear, the endings, the losses, the inevitable deterioration, they are not more real than the experiences that precede them. Your youth is as real as your age. Your health is as real as your illness. Your life is as real as your death. All of it exists, all of it is. This is not a religious claim. This is not a promise about heaven or an afterlife. This is just what physics suggests. The block universe, if it is true, means that nothing ever really ends. Everything just is at its place in the structure. Of course, we do not experience it that way. We experience time flowing. We experience loss. We experience endings. But maybe that experience is not the whole truth. Maybe there is another way to see, a perspective in which everything is present, everything is preserved, everything is eternal. You cannot adopt this perspective fully. You are too embedded in time, too caught up in the story, but you can glimpse it in moments of stillness, in moments of deep peace. And tonight, perhaps, as you drift towards sleep, you can let that glimpse comfort you. The night is deep now. The hours have passed, or seemed to. The world outside is quiet. The sounds have faded to silence. And you are here, still floating. Your thoughts have probably slowed by now. The complex ideas from earlier have settled into something simpler, something quieter. Time is an illusion. The present is eternal. You are safe. That is enough to hold. That is more than enough. Let us return to the breath one more time. Feel it moving through you, slow, easy, natural. Each breath is a moment, and each moment is eternal. Breathe in. This breath has always existed, at this point in your timeline, waiting for you to reach it. Breathe out. This breath will always exist, preserved in the structure of space-time, never lost. There is no rush. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing to achieve. Just breathing, just being, just resting in the eternal now. You are probably very relaxed by now. Your body is heavy, your mind is soft. The edges of waking are starting to blur. This is good. This is what the night is for. And as you drift, as you descend towards sleep, you can carry a few things with you. Time is not what it seems. The flow you feel is something your brain creates. Past and future might both exist, right now, at their places in the block. Nothing is truly lost. And you are part of it all, part of the eternal pattern, part of the stillness that underlies all motion. Einstein knew this, at least he glimpsed it. When his friend Michel Besso died, Einstein wrote to Besso's family. He said that for those who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. And then he added something else. He said that Besso had departed from this strange world a little ahead of him, that it signified nothing, that they would meet again in the eternal structure that physics revealed. A few weeks later, Einstein himself died. From our perspective, trapped in time, both deaths are in the past. They happened, they are over. But from the perspective of the block universe, nothing is over. Einstein and Besso are still there at their points in space-time. Their conversations, their walks, their friendship, all of it preserved, all of it eternal. The idea brought Einstein comfort at the end of his life. Perhaps it can bring you comfort too. You are drifting now. The words are becoming more distant, more dreamy. That is fine, that is as it should be. You do not need to hear every word. You do not need to follow every thought. Let them wash over you like waves. Let them carry you out into the deep water of sleep. Time is an illusion. The past is still here. The future is already here. And you are here in the eternal present, resting. Safe, held, peaceful. The ancient sages knew something that modern physics is only beginning to understand. They sat in caves and forests centuries ago, paying attention to their own experience, and they noticed that when the mind becomes very quiet, time seems to change. It seems to slow down and then to stop. What remains is pure awareness resting in itself. They called this many things: samadhi, nirvana, turiya, moksha. The names do not matter. What matters is the experience, the direct knowing of something beyond time. You have glimpsed this, perhaps, in moments of deep peace, in moments of wonder, in moments when the world seemed to open up and become infinite. Those glimpses are not illusions. They are not tricks of the brain. They are windows into something real, something that physics is only beginning to describe. The eternal present, the block universe, the timelessness at the heart of reality. And now, as you prepare to sleep, you can rest in that knowing. Not understanding it intellectually, not grasping it with the mind, just resting in it, letting it hold you. The universe is vast, the universe is strange, the universe is, in some sense, eternal and unchanging. And you are part of it, woven into it, inseparable from it. When you sleep tonight, you will return to the depths where time does not reach, and when you wake tomorrow, you will return to time, but the depths will still be there, beneath the surface. They are always there. You are always there. Let your eyes stay closed, let your body be still, let your mind be empty. There is nothing left to think about, nothing left to understand. Just rest, just peace, just this. The night continues. The earth turns. The stars shine, millions of light years away, their light traveling through space and time to reach you. And you are here, in this small room, on this small planet, in this vast universe. Resting, breathing, being. Time is an illusion. But you are real. This moment is real. This pace is real. Sleep now. Let go of everything. Let go of time. Let go of self. Let go. The darkness is soft and welcoming. The silence is deep and kind. And you are sinking into it. Slowly, gently, easily. There is nothing to hold onto. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing at all. Just rest. Time is an illusion. The past and future exist, somewhere always. Nothing is lost. You are part of the eternal. Sleep. Rest. Be. The night holds you. The universe holds you. You are safe. You are home. Time is an illusion. And you are free.